Hey, this is Natalie Grant, and you're listening to Dispatch Radio.
All right, folks, it's another great album that's coming out, headed for Christmas time. You may also already be listening to his latest album release called Sovereign. Grammy Award-winning Michael W. Smith is with us. We're going to talk about that album. It's called Michael W. Smith and Friends, The Spirit of Christmas. Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, we're so blessed, and thank you for fitting us in. And I tell you what, you're on here with Amy Grant and Carrie Underwood and Bono and Vince Gill. This is a very eclectic approach to a Christmas album and a very unique, amazing sound, from what I understand.
Well, you know what, Brandon, it's extraordinary. I mean, and I can say it. Just take me out of the equation. Just pretend I'm not even on the record, and you hear who's on the album, and just the passion they brought to it, and just Carrie Underwood singing "All Is Well," and Bono reciting this Irish poem. I mean, and the list goes on. Vince and Amy and Michael McDonald. I mean, gosh, whoever would have thunk it that I would be singing with a Doobie Brother? You know,
it's fantastic.
Amazing song though that ends the record called "Peace." So, yeah, I'm sort of still pinching myself, honestly. It just was a dream come true, and I thought it was going to be great, but I mean, it just very much superseded my expectations. I'm very, very pleased and very happy with the project.
Folks, we can't touch on all the details. If you go to his website, michaelwsmith.com, I know we covered the press release when the news broke. The album actually drops tomorrow. You can check that out. That's Michael W. Smith and Friends, The Spirit of Christmas. And, you know, Michael, as you're putting this together, obviously, you know, you're trying to reach out to some different artists. You're trying to figure out the songs that you want to put together. Give everybody a little insight on how that creative process and how all that development kind of worked.
Well, you know what? This was somebody else's idea. I mean, I'm a big Christmas music fan. If you're a fan of mine at all, you probably know that I've done 3.
Done 3, yeah.
It's my favorite time of the year, and you know, I just knew at some point I would end up doing a 4th. I didn't know I would do it this soon. But I got invited. The way this whole thing started, I got invited to be on the Country Music Christmas Special last year by a guy named Robert Deaton, who produces the CMAs and also produces that show. And he had this wild idea, why don't you and Jennifer Nettles from Sugarland sing your song Christmas Day? And I thought, gosh, I'd love that. That's awesome. Thanks, Robert. You know, and so we did it, and I think it ended up being a big hit on the show. It was very much talked about. It sort of being a moment in the show. And then Robert came to me and said, you know what, I've got an idea for a new Christmas record for you. And I said, well, just come and pitch it to me. Tell me what you're thinking. And so he laid this whole thing out for 20, 25 minutes talking about this concept that has an arc and everything, sort of has the whole thing backed up from beginning to end. And when he gave me the pitch, I went, that's let's see if we can pull it together. And that's what we did. And he came up with a lot of those arcs. You know,
it's great stuff. Great song list.
It's just wild. It is pretty wild. So.
Well, obviously you're on tour now. You're touring around. You're headed towards the Midwest this weekend, and you've got some tour dates all lined up through October and that kind of thing before you shift gears and go into Christmas tour mode. Do you approach things a little differently now? That's your 4th Christmas album. I mean, you have all these great songs to kind of pull from. I know you got a couple of nights where you're actually going to be performing with Amy Grant and an orchestra. So, you know, how does all that package kind of happen, man? This is incredible.
Well, it's completely different than the Sovereign tour. I mean, it's you know, we're out there doing Place in This World and Friends, and a lot of new songs from Sovereign, and then when you sort of turn the corner after Thanksgiving, start to Christmas, that's a whole different deal. You know, most of these shows are orchestra. You know, so you're talking about a 65-piece orchestra almost every night, and it's a completely different show. And I love it, absolutely love it. But yeah, you just have to put a different hat on, and you have to think differently. You know, I'm playing a lot of very, very complex stuff when you're having to stick with an orchestra and playing some of these things. We play some stuff in Glory, and some of that Christmas stuff is kind of complex. You know, It's a Wonderful Christmas is very, very, you know, it's just not like playing pop stuff. You just have to really kind of have your A game. You kind of got to have your A game on, especially from the piano standpoint. But you know what? I love it. I've been doing it for years, and so I'm very, very fortunate that I get to do a few different things. I kind of get to wear a few different hats, during the year. Sovereign and then Christmas obviously being something completely different.
That's absolutely amazing time for you, my friend. And folks, MichaelWsmith.com, you'll get the tour dates there as well. You can check that out. We're obviously talking about the new album that he has, Michael W. Smith and Friends, The Spirit of Christmas, that drops in stores tomorrow, September 30th. And if you want to get more information online, you can check that out. You can pre-order things if you're going through all the different retail outlets, Amazon's even, whatever. They all carry all this stuff, so you can get it very easily. Obviously, we're talking about the tour dates and those kinds of things. And Michael, as you have put together Sovereign, you're having such an amazing success with that. And one of the things I wanted you to speak on was, Sovereign Over Us and the story behind that, because I found that just so powerful. And I know it's really kind of become a big deal on Twitter and that kind of thing. So I want to give you a chance to speak to that.
Well, I think it's an amazing song, and I'm off the hook ego-wise there because I did not write it. There's three writers, and actually one of the writers is my son-in-law, Jack Mooring. And somebody played it for me, like 6 months before I started the Sovereign record, and said, have you heard? It was actually a guy from the UK at Capitol Records, and he said, have you heard the song called Sovereign Over Us? And I said, no. He said, you need to go hear it. And so I went and saw Aaron T's version. He's a worship leader from Atlanta. And I saw a YouTube version of him leading this with a bunch of teenagers, a bunch of young people in this house. And the song absolutely just blew me away. And I knew right when I first heard it, I thought this song needs to be on this album. And more than likely, this might need to be the title of the record. Wow. And I just think it's an important song. This could have been an important song for any sort of season in the past, but I think now you talk to people, and people going through pain, and people losing loved ones, and just life is hard, and I just think there's some basic truths in this song that's extremely powerful that people need to be reassured of, and I'll go straight to the bridge of the song, which I love singing every night. I love singing the whole thing, but when it says, what the enemy means for evil, he turns it for the good. And even in the valley, even in your darkest valley, he's working for our good. And I just think, we got to feel of it. I mean, I don't care how strong you think you are, you're going to have adversity, and you're just going to experience some really tough times. And that, what that song says is what we need to be reminded of. And so I think it's probably on the album, what it's saying, and I think it's a timely message for the body of God.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's just an amazing song, and we don't talk a lot about the sovereignty and that walking in our low points enough. And I know you did that awesome God rendition, which has just been so important in my life and touched my heart. And we've talked about it here on the show. I think we even played a little snippet one time on an intro. We were going to a heavy topic on one of our news sections, and it's just a great career and resume that you've been able to put together with these back-to-back, these albums, Sovereign, and now the Christmas album and that kind of thing. Do you take a break, man? We got to give you a breather here now and again.
Well, little did I know that I would do 3 records in 1 year.
Yeah, I know, man.
I did that hymns record for Cracker Barrel that came out in the spring, and so I just thought, guys, if we're going to do the Christmas album, I'm really going to need some help because I don't want to end up in the hospital with an IV in my arm, from sheer exhaustion. So, but we pulled it off. Some days off here and there. I'm not gone as much as everybody thinks I am, and I learned how to take care of myself. I'm with my family a lot, but it's been a busy year. I mean, in October somewhat busy, November's December's really busy. So, but we're good. I think I've overextended myself. I think it's all doable. And I feel energetic, I'm healthy, and feel great, and that's a blessing in itself, too.
Absolutely, it is, folks. And we're going to link to all this. We follow Michael W. Smith on Twitter. We can michaelwsmith.com. You can get all this information. We're going to link to that, the tour dates. He's obviously still on tour with Sovereign. If you're listening to us online, some of those tour dates can be right in your backyard, so you need to race to go get tickets right away. And if not, you can go ahead and plan for the Christmas tour. There's a lot of tour dates already locked in. That's for the Christmas tour, and even some of those I know about the Atlanta show, which is close to my heart here, with Amy Grant and the orchestra. So a lot of stuff to check out, folks, and keep in touch with them. Brother, it's great to finally get a chance to talk with you. I know you're on a busy schedule, and it's wonderful to get be able to fit us in like this.
No worries, man. Thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it.